turn it on. Hope for the best here. Alright, it is going live now.
Grant, what are you using for your camera?
Alright.
It's a G9.
Is it a DSLR?
Okay, we are live.
It's a mirrorless,
Oh, cool. It looks good.
I figure I got
here.
no quality stuff to talk about, so I got to try to make it
Whatever.
as much as possible. So.
Whatever.
Alright. It's like it says stream health is good, so if we have any problems, we'll have to.
It's not showing up on
that channel. It's not showing up on what? I have a feed here on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't see it on YouTube.
I mean, let me go to the actual link and check. Yeah, it's there.
Weird.
Alright, bat signal's out. Let's see how this is looking on Facebook.
That's so weird. You go to youtube.com/Mograph and it doesn't, I don't see it. Live. Nope.
I mean,
What's up, Tesla Rock?
whatever. Yeah, what up, Tesla Rock?
Weird. Everything's all messed up.
Everything's getting all messed up. I think people are DDoSing live streaming services.
There
just,
we go.
Because they want to.
Alright, now I see it. What's up, Pedro?
See, it's still not working on our dang website. I'm gonna have to. Maybe it's my plugin not working. Pedro. Alright. Sharing on Facebook.
I need a nap.
Me too.
Get all shot up.
Yeah,
in the
naps are the
today.
best.
I
Alright.
know. Ba-da-boo-doo.
Alright, I think we're good. I
Shabba-doo-doo,
think we can go
ba-da.
live here.
Test 1, 2.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead
Yes,
and bring up our
1, 2.
faces. So you can see
Let's
our
bring up
faces.
the faces. We are the faces behind the cases.
We're using that YouTube chat again today only, unfortunately, just because our streaming service is under attack this morning, a DDoS attack. So this is what we got. We almost had to go to YouTube only, but we were able to
What's up,
get
Rick
it in
Bogus?
working.
What's
So
up, Gustav?
so if you lose the stream all of a sudden, that's why we'll have to flip
Southern
over.
Oregons.
So
Cons?
everybody make sure you are standing by to switch streams if it goes away.
Is the name
all right, so what
Cons?
we're going to do
Cons?
for the...
Dave, can you hear me?
yes,
Oh, okay.
I'm starting
Sorry.
the show. What
I know, I
we're going to
was talking,
do
but you
is
just kept on
we're going to
talking,
get
so I
the
assumed-
stream going, and we're going to start the actual show. Let's go. Everybody
right.
recording?
I am rolling, yes.
I am also recording, yes.
All right. We're going to do a sync. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, clap. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. All right, when we start, we're going to do, you've probably seen us do this on the stream before, but we're going to do the intro. I'll say I'm Dave, Matt will say I'm Matt, and he's going to introduce you. He's going to throw it to you. And then same thing at the end. I'll say I'm Dave, Matt will say I'm Matt. And then you'll say I'm G-Rant. And then
Okay.
we'll go from there. When we do the introduction, and Matt introduces you, just give it a quick hello or a quick whatever, because I'm going to go into the spiel, and then I've got the usual rant. I think we are good to go. This is the first
That's
time
so
I'm
weird.
also the first time I'm recording locally on a different machine, so fingers crossed.
It's weird. Like I saw that text come up in our Skype before I saw it even come up on YouTube.
On
You typing in "hey hey hey."
on
Weird.
Skype.
Never mind. Don't worry about
Oh, before it showed up
it.
over
Forget
there.
about
Yeah.
it.
Did I just see? I don't know what I just saw. I thought I saw EJ comment
Was
somewhere,
okay.
but I guess not. I guess maybe I just
Nope.
saw that somewhere. Saw his name on something. All right. You ready? Everybody ready? Everybody rolling?
Rolling. Let's do it.
All right. What's up and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt. Joining us today is our good friend, Mr. Grant Inouye.
Hi.
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. It has been a long couple of weeks. We're still in lockup, all of
Yeah.
us, and that's fun. But you know what? We
Yeah.
raised a lot of money last week.
Yes, we did. Thank you to everyone who donated. It was a very fun 3 days of streaming.
Yeah. If you
It was hard with the kids home, but
Yes.
yeah, it was a very fun 3 days of streaming.
if you have
So-
if you don't listen to any, or if you don't like follow us on anything, if you just listen to the show
Yeah.
only, you wouldn't have even known what we were doing. But so if you were wondering why there was no show last week, that is
Yeah, you're
basically
like,
why.
"Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, because we were gonna roll some sort of like maybe that render stream or whatever, and then we decided to do this. So there's 15 hours of content from last week that you can check out
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Good quality content.
Yeah, we raised money for Doctors Without Borders. We hit our goal
Yeah.
of
Yep.
3,000. We're above that
Yep.
goal now.
Yeah, we ended up hitting what? $3,094.
Yeah, originally it was 3069 because Casey had to get in that 69
Right.
at the end, but
Right.
we got more after the fact. So in fact, you can
Yeah.
continue donating if you want to. It's still out there. Go
Does
to
that ever end?
I guess not really. I guess if you go to mograph.com/donate, you can continue to donate to Doctors Without Borders. It's a great
Sure.
cause right now, and we feel like
For less than the
yeah.
price of a cup of coffee.
Right. For less than the price of a cup of coffee,
You
for
can
only
help
$1 a
us out.
day, you can. Yeah. So G Rant is here.
G to the rant.
G Rant.
Hi.
What day is Grant Day? Do you know this information, or does Sage the only one who knows this information?
Sage probably remembers. It's sometime in late April, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, then it's coming up.
Right.
We need to make a big day of it.
Pedro says the building
Yeah.
behind me looks like the thing Arnold pulled out of his nose in Total Recall.
That is totally true.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I
the
just
tracking
realized this
thing.
is the late night backdrop. This isn't the
I
right
know, dude.
backdrop. Should I change
No,
it
you
back?
gotta change that.
I'll have to change it back.
Come on, we gotta get to space.
We got to go to space. Hopefully, it just doesn't lock up the whole thing. Let me just change that real quick.
Sage, what day is Grant Day? You should know this. Uh-oh.
What?
Ah, there we go.
There we go.
Nothing.
There you go. What day is Grant? Oh, Grant Day. On
Yeah,
the
when
Slack?
everyone changes their name to Grant.
That's only happened once, right?
Oh, it's happened twice.
Oh, it has happened
Yeah.
twice. I missed
Yeah,
it. I missed.
It's a yearly event now.
Oh man.
Right.
Wow. Let's we got a little week wrap up here. Already talked about the Doctors Without Borders stuff. Anything? April 18th. Oh, it's coming
There we
up.
go.
It's coming up. Mark
it's
your
coming up.
calendars for G Rant Day.
Yep. The day you change your name on all social things to Grant.
I thought it was just Slack.
Sure. I think it was just Slack.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why not? Let's make it a worldwide thing
Yeah.
on all social things.
Any COVID news? Any stuff we need to know about?
I don't know. Everyone's in lockdown. The world sucks. You know,
Everybody doing okay? Keeping your
everyone's
sanity?
depressed because they're worried about, jobs and work and stuff like that, and I
Right.
get it.
Oh yeah.
Let's do John Krasinski just started a video YouTube thing where he's
Yeah.
doing positive things,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And
So
there's a couple different things. One of the links that I do have is who is looking for creatives that want to volunteer some of their time to this cause, to do videos, informational things, stuff like that. Obviously, it's not a paid thing, but if you want to donate, if you feel like it's something that you could, like you don't have anything going on, you want to contribute, you want to maybe use that on your reel, whatever you want to do, but it is not paid. But you can check that out. I'll put a link in the show notes to that. And there was something else I was going to add to that. Oh, I do have some information on small business loan stuff, at least for Texas.
that's good to know.
And,
Okay, yeah. Let's hear it.
What's his name?
They just passed the stimulus. Did they pass the? They passed the stimulus package, right?
Oh, did they?
So, I believe so, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Trump signed it. He just said, "Nah, I'm not going to worry about the oversight committee or whatever, so he can spend it however he wants," which is
So yeah,
very Trump of him.
and
you
also
know? But
he has also
the-
decided that he, instead of the regular person, he is wants his signature on all
right,
the
he
checks.
wants his name on the checks.
Look like so it can be like, look what Trump gave me.
Right. Here's one thing. Here's a couple of things for those who are curious about the stimulus stuff. So, as far as the money that you will be getting, so if you filed your taxes in 2019, and you had a bank account associated with it through direct deposit or whatever, that the check will automatically come into that bank account. So for each individual, it's making up to $75,000 individually, or $150,000 married as a couple. You'll get $1,200 per person, and then $500 for every child. Now, if you go over that 75,000 or over that 150 combined, then the number starts to go down a bit. And this is based on what is it? It's your standard. Dave, what was it? Standard gross
Your
or
adjusted
something?
gross.
Adjusted gross. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
So
that's important to note.
That's after
So-
all your business expenses, then.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because my adjusted gross didn't. Yeah, I'm getting the full amount. Now,
Yeah.
here's something interesting. If you have filed your 2019, then they're basing it off of your 2019 numbers. If you haven't done taxes like me yet, they're basing it off your 2018 numbers. Now, here's the thing. It's actually for 2020. So say you don't make as much this year, but you made $150,000, 2 years ago when you filed your taxes. You wouldn't get anything necessarily back, but when you file your 2020 taxes, you will get that money. So it's important to notate that it's going to be based on this year. Like, for example, I had a kid this year, but I didn't have a second kid in 2018, so I won't get that other child tax credit until next year when I file my taxes. So, which is good. Another important thing. One stipulation on that though, and this is for all the students and stuff out there. If you are claimed as a dependent on your parents' tax return, you do not get any money. So it's the crappy part, because you won't get any money at all. And if you're over 17, they won't actually get any money for you, which is kind of crappy,
That's...
Yeah.
Interesting.
So from 17, I think from 17 to 24 or 17 to 26,
Why
you
not
can claim them
18?
as a
Like-
I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. So from like 17 to 24 or 26 or something, you could still claim your kid as a dependent if they were like in college or whatever. I don't know the exact age, but if they're in that boat, like, they don't get any money at all, which is kind of crappy, But yeah. Then the biggest thing though, and this is the big thing that's going to help a lot of us, I think, is the student loans. So student loan deferment, I believe, until October, either September or October, and that's automatic. If you go to Sally Mae or Navient, whoever you have, and you go and look them up, like you will see next month, it'll say what day it's due, and it'll say $0. I've already looked it up, and it's fantastic because it's already working. So I've worked that into my budget. I'm going to save quite a bit of money over the next 6 months not having to pay student loans. And the cool thing is, if you're on the 120 month or 10-year like student loan forgiveness program, that does not take away those months that are deferred actually count towards your months for the student loan forgiveness stuff.
Oh, that's great.
Which, it's super great. So a lot of good stuff. Thank the house for pushing for,
Right.
so much for everyone else.
I'm looking at the link to the small business thing I was talking about. I had to find it.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember where I had it saved. It's like, did I bookmark it or Facebook save it or send a link
or upvote it on Reddit
or updude it? So there was a tweet or something like that, or something on Facebook that went out from Mark Cuban that said, if you're a small business, you need to hit this right now.
Did you fill that out already?
No, I'm doing it today. It's on my list. I'm sorry I didn't do it on Sunday. But dude, like the teachers are sending work to do and having Zoom meetings on the weekend.
Oh,
we had
they shouldn't be doing.
I'm like,
that.
Come on, like just give me a day.
Stuff to do. Like I know my kid's teacher sent a whole list of stuff, and in comparison to last week, it's like, dude, this kid's got a lot of work this week.
I saw some of the work this morning. Yeah, she's working on it right now, and I'm like, can you give us the weekend, please? Like,
come on, we got to play some video games.
Right.
We can't go outside of our house.
Well, the thing is, I'm still working on the weekends, and it's nice because then you're not doing schoolwork and work on the weekends.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough to juggle, and so what I don't understand, and I think it was maybe Liam this morning who commented on it on the Monday meeting. It's like you've got these, and did you? You said you had one for Gibbs in his class too, right? A Zoom meeting, like where all the kids get together.
They just did this morning for the first time. Yeah, it's kind of cute.
It's kind of cute the first time, but when they start scheduling it like 2 and 3 times a week, and all the kids do is just sit there and goof off in front of the camera, you're just like, okay.
I don't know. Our teacher was pretty good about like keeping everyone on task and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing, but.
It's great they get to see each other, but it's like, okay, this is either going to be something that they can just go do by themselves and goof off, or, I need to know if I need to be involved. Like, do I need to be there? Do I need to be there to get information, or can they just go do that? And I think my daughter gets a little.
The teacher is just if you got it. The teachers have to understand that the kids are going to be there and the parents can't be there the whole time.
Right.
I would assume that they would think that.
I think my daughter gets a little annoyed because she's like, okay, we're here in front of the camera. Like, what do you want me to do right now?
Yeah.
Like, I could be doing other things. Like, that's how I felt, let's make it productive if it's going to happen,
Yeah. The biggest thing that I've seen that people have been talking about is the biggest way to keep yourself absolutely sane during all this quarantine stuff is keep yourself on a schedule.
Yeah.
And I've found that very much to be true. I get up slightly later now, because no one has to wake up in my house. So I get up around 8 instead of 6:30, but I get up, take a shower, get ready for work, get the kid up. And I told him, I said, you can't just get on your phone and watch The Masked Singer all day.
Yes.
It's the worst show in the whole world. And so but I told him, I said, from now on, it's you get up, you take a shower, you get dressed, you go down, you do your homework for hours. You got 1 o'clock. Mo Willems is doing free for all draw. He did the pigeon, Don't Let the Pigeon Ride the Bus. It's a great book. And he did the Gerald and Piggy books. Oh, they're so good. But then 2 o'clock, Cincinnati Zoo, they do a live stream and stuff. So it's like he's got stuff that he can be doing all day. And then his Taekwondo stuff has been sending them. Been sending them stuff. Did I get sidetracked? I don't know.
No. Penny was saying she got sidetracked, I think. I want to get back to that in a second. I'll just give the information here. Now, this is only Texas.
Oh, yeah, for the small. Okay, we did get sidetracked.
This
my bad.
This is only Texas. It's TDEM. dot texas.gov, tdem.texas.gov, and it's basically for, it says, who can apply: small businesses, small agriculture cooperatives, and most private nonprofits can apply for this. This is if your business has been affected by it, to get disaster assistance handout. So, I'm sure every state has their own and whatnot, and I don't know what you have to prove and not prove and all of that, but I'm going to go through the process. So I'll hit you back, let you know what it says in there and everything else.
Yeah,
but
I mean, as far as the stimulus package goes, there was 300 million or something put towards small businesses and stuff like that.
I hope it would be more than that, honestly. It was supposed to be
300 billion, sorry, not million.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it was supposed to be at least 50 billion originally. Yeah. So I guess, let's talk about staying sane. Grant, how have you been staying sane? How have you been keeping your sanity during this?
Well, so because I work, I have a day job, and then I usually freelance at night, but the freelance stuff is kind of dried up a little bit.
Yeah.
And my setup at home is actually so I can work at night when the whole family's asleep. During the day, like, it's tough to get work done.
Yeah.
My daughter's screaming in my ear on the side, like, let's go play. The entire time. So I because I don't have freelance at night. My wife does, but she's a teacher.
Okay.
Common thing with all
right.
Oh man, that's,
but she just goes back today, actually, but they start an online, everything's online today.
Yeah.
So she's been gearing up to actually do that too. So I've been helping her do like screen captures and things like that to
cool.
help ease the students into going in online
mode. They're using Google Classrooms for that?
No, they have their own thing. They had online from before, so they had the system set up. It's just the majority of students were still on campus, but now they're just all switching over to online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's called Confer Zoom or something.
Huh. Yeah. Did y'all hear about the Zoom conferences? People have been putting, like, the teachers have been putting them on Facebook, and then perverts have been showing up on the Zoom.
Or they're just guessing the URLs too.
Yeah. It's like, oh man. So they did a Zoom meeting this morning, and they had it password protected and stuff like that. It's like, that's smart.
It's not hard to password protect the meeting. I mean,
right.
It's not surprising.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Know.
It's not surprising at all that people are going to start messing with. I mean, our streaming service is being DDoSed right now, before the show, and we barely just got in on the streaming service today. And it's, the first thing I said was, do they really not have any more time on their hands than to do that? And I'm like, wait, yeah, they do.
Well, you have to also keep in mind, everyone's working from home.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's only so much you can get done at home, It's like and Insidium sent out an email or something the other day saying, we understand, some people may have some issues. Just give us time because we're all working from home. It's like that totally makes sense. Like, people can't just be, jump at the jump when someone says how high or whatever.
I'm just glad some of the companies are still functioning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not much different for me.
Yeah, me neither.
But a lot of people might. I mean, think about if your life had nothing to do with computers, or even if it did, even if you used computers like this, sitting at a desk wasn't your day to day. That's the people that are really struggling right now.
Yeah. It was so weird to me. I had a dentist appointment this morning across town. So I drove in the morning, and it was weird, like, seeing all these big, gigantic buildings. Like, there's a big State Farm building that they just built in Dallas, and I was driving by it, and it was weird thinking to myself, that is empty right now,
Yeah.
There's no one in there. Everyone is working from home. And, like, the fact that all these people can work from home, and stuff can still get done, it's like, I wonder if this is going to be a complete change of the way people work.
Paradigm shift.
Definitely.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, think about even the way everybody is kind of loose. I mean, back in, let's say, like the 50s, you had those hard times, right? You had, we're going to work from 9 to 5. That's it. You go home. Nobody can get a hold of you. You know, like you had the separation, kind of. You had the family time and all that. And I feel like right now people are slowing down. This fast-paced world is slowing down, and it's kind of a good thing.
It's also with kids home and stuff like that. Have you noticed that? You know, I don't know about you so much, Dave. Maybe Grant, you're noticing this. I'm definitely noticing this with me and my wife having the kids home. It's like you're not working the normal hours that you normally work. You know, right. I wasn't necessarily working 40 hours every week as it was, you know, but still, like, it was a set number of hours from this time to this time.
Right.
Now, those hours are in spurts, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And it may be like more or less or something, but I'm working. I will be on my computer from 9 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night in hour-long spurts dispersed throughout.
Yeah.
It's the same with my wife because we're having to make sure that the kids are doing their stuff and like that the baby's being fed, you know, blah, blah, blah.
You finish your stuff with your kid, you know, in the afternoon, make sure they're getting their homework done, and then you stop, and then you actually sit down and do more work at like 5 p.m. or something weird.
Right. You know, or render wrangling. That was me for like 2 days straight, was just render wrangling, you know? So
yeah, and like Mark says in the chat, you know, he's like, does any hard deadline even exist right now? It is super loose. I feel like I don't even like, I'm not even like, I need to go catch up on my budget and things like that, but I'm like, I'm not spending any money. You know, the auto payments are going through, and that's it. Like there's no other money besides groceries being spent, and it's like, well, I know that there's money in the bank. You know, there's some bills I probably am that are not auto that I probably need to go catch up on.
Not going out and drinking, spending $100 every night on alcohol.
Yeah, I don't really I have a budget for alcohol too, which is pretty low. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, $50 a week at the pool hall or something to play pool and get drinks, and it's like that's what I'm jonesing for.
$200 a month.
My pool game is
$2,400 a year, or what is that? Yeah, $2,400 a year.
And my pool game is going to be like awful, like terrible now. You know, I had this brand new pool cue back here, and I've only used it a couple months, and now it's like I was really getting good with this like new stick, and then it's like it's over. No more pool. Sorry.
Ohio is I think Ohio is shutting down the alcohol sales.
That was a rickroll. If you click on it, that's a rickroll.
Was it a rickroll?
Yes.
Oh, that is hilarious.
People are going to riot in the streets if that happens, dude.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
They made liquor stores essential in Denver.
It's essential in Texas too.
That's so funny.
It's definitely essential, and somebody had a conversation about it, and must have seriously sat down and thought through it and said, what happens if we close these stores? Because then it's going to be like underground sales, and people are going to be smashing into liquor stores to get liquor and sell it underground. True. Yeah, and you're just that's not. They've laxed the rules here in Texas where you can buy to-go alcohol.
You can buy to-go alcohol. You can get to-go margaritas. It's hilarious. Like, you go to Taco Cabana, and they'll give you like a virgin margarita with a shot of tequila on top, like just in a little bottle, you know, strapped right on top.
What was the meme you saw today?
The what?
You saw,
meme it said, oh man,
if we're good or something like that.
Oh yeah, if we're good during the virus, can we keep the to-go alcohol?
Yeah, afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, everyone, y'all are doing a great job at all these great memes. There is so many good coronavirus
what else are you gonna
quarantine memes. The memes are so good. They're top notch, I gotta say. Y'all are amazing.
I will say I've been rediscovering different things to keep myself occupied. I mean, I have plenty of work to do, but I don't always work. And so it's like, okay, well, what fun thing could I do? You know, we've been playing Halo a lot and more video games. Watching Tiger King. Oh my gosh.
Tell me you've seen Tiger King.
No, I haven't actually. What is that?
Oh
man.
It's a documentary based on, man, I saw a really, hold on.
You saw a good synopsis?
I've seen so many good memes on this.
You got Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy said, this tweet said, another reason I stopped planning so much is because if you would have asked me in January where I'd be in March, locked inside learning about the life of a gay redneck tiger breeder would not have been my answer.
Yeah. It's this crazy documentary, and it just has a million twists and turns. It's
so
insane.
Weird.
It's only like 4 episodes, right, or something.
It's 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not quite done with it. I think I'm on the last one, but man, talk about.
I have determined that's why I'm growing out my hair. I am growing out my hair so that I can be the Tiger King for Halloween. Good.
Yeah, because at this, hopefully there is a trick or treat at this point, but
there will be. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I think this whole thing's gonna blow over by end of May.
I sure
maybe
hope
June.
So. I hope so.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think things are gonna get lax, but to actually have like them be okay with kids running around doing that, I don't know.
People are gonna be very skittish, I think, at first.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's gonna be more of a, hey, everyone needs to stay inside if they can. No extraneous,
All the treats are just going to be like, Purell.
Yeah. It's just buckets of Purell.
Yeah.
Yep.
I email or I text message Paul Babb, and back when NAB was still going to happen, I said, hey, y'all need to do the Purell, hand sanitizer
branded
as a giveaway. Yeah, branded one. He's like,
dude, we have at work. Right, you see that?
Nice.
TV hand sanitizers. We're just handing these
awesome.
out.
And
nice.
it sprays.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That aerosol though.
Do you have a VR helmet of any kind?
Me? No.
Yeah, no.
I've been wanting to get into it, but I just even just games too. I can't Right now, as my life is, I really can't. I know myself, and I know how I'll just get sucked into that world. So I got to put a curb on it and just not get into it. Although I really would like to have Beat Saber right now and get some exercise.
Dave, you were saying on a little text message group with our friends, you burned 700 calories the other day.
700 calories. Now here's the thing: I just yesterday completed Couch to 5K for the second time in my life.
Congrats!
And I have gotten. I mean, just 2 months ago, I could barely run for 3 minutes without just being dead tired. And now, the amount of energy that I have and the amount of stamina when it comes to doing stuff like that is just incredible. I can run for 30-something minutes without stopping, without feeling winded.
That's awesome.
Awesome. I mean, I'm checking my watch yesterday. I had to push myself harder because my heart rate wasn't high enough. And I'm just running, and I'm just running. Like I've never felt that way in my life, where I look down, 150 beats a minute, and I've been running for 20-something minutes, And so I was like, I'm going to get back into VR because my cabin fever was overwhelming. I'm talking it was the 10th day that I had not even gone anywhere. Yeah. And I was like, all right. So first of all, we went for a drive. That helped. This is Saturday. Went for a drive. That really helped. Then I came back, wasn't running that day, and I was like, I'm gonna get this thing going. And I moved some furniture around, had some room, because I really haven't done any full room VR in a while, And I'm like, I'm gonna do this. And I was loading up, downloading Half-Life Alyx, which we will talk about in a minute. And in the meantime, I'm like, I'm gonna go back to Beat Saber because I've only played it a few times or whatever. And I didn't have all the room around me when I did that. So I got into this full hour and a half sesh of getting way into it. I mean, I'm sure I looked ridiculous, but really jumping around aerobic style jazz into the expert mode.
I need to hook it up.
I was drenched, dude.
My kid is he's crazy right now. He needs some exercise, I just need to build a computer. I want to. I've got 2 computers. I need a third one.
It's a good excuse.
I really do. And the thing is, I need one specifically for VR and gaming in my game room. And
it's weird. Fifi Penny, she's talking about feeling weird running outside right now. I I feel like I do get some looks for running outside, but you're not gonna. If you go out your door and you don't touch anything, and you run on a sidewalk and you come back in, you're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. It's like we're confined to our house, so you think that outside is bad,
but it's the same.
When really it's not.
It's about the interaction. And a lot of people are outside walking. I've noticed now that, and we all see each other, and we'll cross to the other side. Or we'll, we'll just, it's fine. Everybody's aware. Everybody, for the most part, if they're out walking, they're like, you give a nod, it's all friendly. But the people that are just out, like, working on their lawn or in their garage, give you a funny look. Like, why are you beyond the confines of your, it's like, dude, nothing, I'm not sneezing on you. I'm not, I'm so far away. And that is, Lucky says running is considered a basic need. In exercise, even in Italy, you're allowed to run. You have to stay. You can't just sit there. You can't stay like that in your house. It's not a prison, Right.
Right.
So
it's a prison with benefits.
Right. But yeah, so I got. That's the other thing is cardio is good for your lungs. I mean, I've had lung problems in the past. I had 2 blood clots in my lungs. And the fact that
you
now
of all people need that because if you get that COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I would have gotten COVID like 2 months ago compared to right now, I think there's a huge difference. And so I sat there, and it's kind of like doing interval training because you'll do Beat Saber and you'll stop in between. Your heart rate will go down and you'll do another one. And if you really get into it, like I did, you'll be drenched in sweat, and 700 calories is what I burned.
That is insane.
And but it's an escape. Like having VR is an escape right now. You feel like you've left the house.
True. You feel like you've left the house or feel like you've gone somewhere else. Yeah.
There's a new painting one where it's just paint by numbers almost, and you just click and you draw, like you fill colors and stuff. And I felt like I was just getting out of the house, and it's really great if you have one, or if you're thinking about getting one, you can escape to these different places. So I guess we should just go ahead and just call this VR Corner, but
VR Corner.
I want to talk about
that's my new song.
Lay that track down later and remix it. And no, I was, I've been hearing about Half-Life Alex. You brought it up. Other people have brought it up.
Yeah. I was excited about it. I haven't tried it yet. Man. I haven't downloaded it. It's $60.
Dude, it is worth every penny.
Yeah. I've heard it's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah.
It's on Steam. So if you have an Oculus Rift, you have to open Oculus and then Steam, but it works.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Aryev was telling me over text, like, dude, it's so great. It's so great. Have you tried it yet? And I only had a little bit of time to play it at the time, and I spent like 30 minutes, and I took my headset off, and I was like, this is the best VR game that I've ever played.
Yeah.
I like and we've played Robo Recall and all those others.
What is it? Like, Robo Recall is a great game, but what is it specifically about Alex that makes it so good?
First of all, the fact that you're in the Half-Life universe, which, there's never going to be a Half-Life 3, so this is the closest thing. Okay.
I don't know anything about Half-Life.
Oh, man. Okay. Well,
I own all the games, but I've never actually played them. Should I play them through before I play Alex?
No, doesn't matter. It is only in VR. You don't have to be, like Sage said, do I need to be familiar? You don't have to be familiar with the Half-Life universe. What is so cool is there's some sounds and things like your health recharge that like are totally like nostalgic throwback,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, we lost. The G-Rant
we lost Grant.
Are you there? Grant?
He's like, screw this, I'm out of here.
Grant? Are you here?
He'll come back.
It turned black. I bet we lost his camera.
Yeah.
I bet his battery died on his camera. Okay. Well, while he fixes that, I'll keep talking.
Do you not like good things? That's funny.
Do you not like good things? Where? Okay.
Right,
it's black though. It's not gone. It's black, which I'm thinking that we probably lost his input.
Yeah.
Let me just ask him. You good? I bet his battery died on his DSLR.
Yeah. Maybe his power went out.
Well, yeah, but we didn't lose his connection. That's what's weird. Like,
oh, yeah.
Or did we?
Yeah.
No, we did.
I don't think we did.
It's weird because usually it doesn't go black like that.
Yeah, no, we still have his connection.
Do we?
Yeah, because if he left, I wouldn't see the little black box. You know?
Yeah. You're right. Okay. Yeah. There he is.
Let's see.
I think that's probably what happened. Looks like he had to go to
Yeah,
the alternate.
I've got
He's back.
Half-Life. I have Half-Life 2. I have Half-Life 2 Lost Coast.
What's up, dude?
You had to switch out your camera?
Ooh,
no, I had it on a battery backup, and it should have kept going, but yeah, it ran out of batteries.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. You're a little off. You're a little off center now, but so yeah,
I can adjust it.
When when I started playing, here's the deal, because you want to know like why it's good, right? And it's every aspect of the game, because there are certain games that you'll play and you're like, well, this is really a really fun game because X, this is a really fun game because you get to do this or whatever. First of all, I'll say that the textures are mesmerizing and beyond comprehension. Like, Ariev and I were talking about it, like, it makes me want to do this. It makes me want to do this for video games, because he made this point of, he's like, these textures are better than anything that I could even do in Octane. Like, I'm sure this is all Substance, Substance Designer, Substance Painter, whatever. Every little aspect of this game is like, you pick up a Coke can and you can read the label on it, and all the things. And like, and the physics are great and all of that, and the sheer magnitude of how incredibly detailed it is. Your hands are really cool, all the textures and everything on it. You kind of have powers and things, but you go up, like, say you go up to a picture frame and you look at it on the wall, you can push it and it moves. Everything is touchable, movable, and so you are at the beginning fully immersed.
Get the markers and draw dicks on stuff.
Actually, you pick the markers up and you can do but the other thing is that like even the weapons, like the guns, look so great when you hold them up and you like put it in your hand. If you've ever fired a gun, there's a certain way you're supposed to put, if you're right-handed, that you put your left hand under to support the gun. Well, as soon as you do that with your hands in the game hold the gun the way that you really should hold a gun, if that makes sense. But there's also humor in there and things like that. God, what else were we talking about? Just how interactive it is. It's just mesmerizing. You want to pick up everything. There are scenes that you just fly through, because it's like, oh, I got to walk through this room to get to this other room. And nothing happens in that room, but you want to stop in that room. You want to look at every piece of artwork. You want to look at everything on the desk. I picked up this graphics card that was sitting there, and I moved it like this, and like I saw the specular on the what do you call it? On the pieces that go into the PCI slot. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, and the game, I mean, the gameplay itself is fun. The sound design is incredible. I wish I could remember even all the physics, everything blowing around in the ground. Like Ariev said, the rat physics. Because there's little rats scurrying around in different places like that. And
is it a scary game?
I mean, it's got that kind of a feel, of...
See, I don't like scary games.
It's not that bad.
I played Parasite Eve on the original PlayStation when I was younger, and that put me off.
Freaky.
Yeah, that put me off for scary games for my whole life.
It's not like that intense in that way. I mean, my daughter played it, and she was a little weary at first about that, because she doesn't like that kind of thing, and she's having fun with it.
All right.
I wish I could remember what else we talked about in that conversation. I'll have to look it up. But I am telling you, I'll see if I can look up here. Okay, here I found our conversation.
Oh my gosh, Mark, could you imagine Portal 3 in VR?
Oh, Portal in VR would be fantastic. You'd have to do it so you wouldn't get sick, but
right, it would have to be to where you're not falling and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
See, Ariev said it makes me mad because it looks better than anything I could do rendered. You know, like all the substance stuff and the roughness maps, the newspaper dynamics, the rat dynamics, the weapons feel really good. All the gadgets, there's like puzzle stuff in it that's really cool.
Cool.
And he was talking about the index, if you could, how good it would look on the index. I don't know anything about the index, but apparently that's a good VR helmet. But I'm telling you, if you want to escape, go do that. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of VR stuff, so there is I just saw this on Reddit, and apparently my wife had posted this on her my wife had posted this on her her school's website and stuff. You know, it's like a daily challenge or whatever that she does. And so this one was it was a YouTube link. If you want to ride every single ride at Disney World in 3D, like VR, you know, like nodal panning and stuff like that, you can go on every single ride.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah. It's super cool.
Get sick.
Like ride the people mover. And it's some dude who's just going and riding, so you're actually riding with him on every ride.
Oh.
Right. Well, I mean, does he have the 360 camera on his head so you don't see his face?
No, he's got it out to the side. So literally you're sitting next to him.
Right, so if you turn, he's like right there, like all huge.
Yeah.
Is it 3D? Like, is it stereo though?
I don't think it's 3D. I think it's just 360.
Oh, okay.
Be cool if it was 3D.
Yeah. All right.
Can you guys hear that train?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a.
Oh, it's all right.
The studio's right next to a train track.
Nice.
But let's talk about you now, G-Rant. Let's talk about you.
Sure. Before my last battery runs out.
Oh man. Do you have another camera?
Should be fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, I've got an iMac here that has a webcam too. So.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
So let's talk about Houdini first, because you did a year of Houdini dailies, right?
Yeah.
And
I did that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Is that on your site? I want to see them all.
It's on my Instagram.
Okay.
That was 2017.
Yeah.
And
that's got to be difficult doing Houdini.
Yeah, it pretty much damn near killed me, but sure.
All right.
So you bought Stop Being Afraid of Houdini on February 7th, and you finished it on March 18th. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Wow.
Wow.
What did you think?
Yeah, it's great. It's actually, and then if you keep letting me rant on about this, it's going to be basically a commercial for how everybody should Stop Being Afraid of Houdini.
I'm fine with that.
That's a good idea. Let's do that.
But it's actually really great. It's what I wish I had when I had first started my dailies, because along with doing a render every day in 2017, the whole reason for it was to learn Houdini. Like I told myself, I'm going to commit a year to doing this, and if I'm still not, comfortable and at least a little bit, okay, because I still only consider myself maybe like an intermediate or an advanced beginner, but doing it for a year, and if I didn't get the hang of it, like I would just say I just quit. But
yeah.
I had to piecemeal my curriculum for myself, right? So what I would do is I would actually I would watch a tutorial every day. So I had like a bank of tutorials, just a whole directory that I still have on Dropbox that I could watch anywhere. It would sync up with my work computers and things like that. And I would have a repository that I built up for a while because I was thinking about doing the whole dailies thing for like the second half of 2016 and psyching myself up. Well, not the second half, but towards the end. And then when I started it, I would do a tutorial every day and try to do a render based on that tutorial. But if not, you can't like limit yourself like that because some days you just don't have the time or whatever it is. So I would just do a render every day. And the thing was that at the time, even it's still like that now, but it's a lot better. And even at the time, it was a lot better than it was a couple years before that. But everything was sporadic and all over the place, and it was really hard to get organization, and I had to figure out my own organization of how to like structure things out. A big help was Hello Lux's Houdini Jumpstart.
I didn't know they had a Jumpstart Houdini.
Yeah, by Adam Swab. It's so it went in categories, and the first part was more about like SOPs and things like that, and then it went into sort of like I forgot the exact order. I think it was dynamics and then particles and then flip and then pyro. But after seeing that, I kind of sort of tried to structure how I did my dailies like that. So like the first 3 months actually was just, I'm not going to touch dynamics. I'm just going to stay on SOPs. I'm just going to figure out how things work and things like that. And I didn't even know that even that was needed to be much more granular and much more thought out. Like I should have dedicated, you know, a week or a month or whatever to just like the solver SOP or, you know, just the concepts of like attribute transfer and things like that. And so if I had stopped being afraid of Houdini at the time, I think it would have been a really big help just getting down the line, you know?
Yeah. Now, did you, before you started your dailies and stuff like that, did you know Houdini at all? Or was this the whole point of the dailies?
So yeah, I had taken like one class of Houdini when I went to the Academy of Art University, like years before, but it was taught by this guy who was really smart, but his course was like all over the place, and it's sort of like the way he thinks. Like I like to when I get to know people, I like to see how they think and how they organize things and how they problem solve. And there's that certain type of mindset where I just can't figure out, like, how are you thinking about this? How are you approaching things? And that he was one of those people where they just like are kind of like design and things like that just come naturally to them, and it's really hard to figure out how they have things out in their head. And so his class sort of, and that was like Houdini, I want to say 9 or 10. So it's back in 2000, probably 2010 or something. And it was just one semester. And I was like, yeah, okay, like I can't figure this out. This is even before I was into cinema. This is before I was into anything. I had taken like one class of Maya before that. So like I didn't even know what UVs were at the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I still don't know what UVs are.
Exactly, but you know, Cinema 4D is going to be taking care of that soon, hopefully.
Right? We've been heard, apparently.
Yeah. So I had taken one class and then I forgotten about it. And, you know, the industry was kind of, I was getting antsy, and the industry was kind of like pushing, like, to me, I thought my career wasn't going to progress anymore unless I had learned Houdini, and I was psyching myself up and I really needed to get into it. And so before I started, on January 1st, 2017, I think I had taken about a half a month. I spent about 2 weeks going through some of those beginner tutorials on like Hello Lux and stuff. So just to get used to the interface a little bit.
Yeah.
But you,
So, yeah.
That's super important. I don't know. That's the whole reason I really like our course. Like the whole first half, once you're done with it, you're so comfortable in Houdini.
Yeah.
You're comfortable moving around and doing a lot of the basic things like building nodes and building node trees and stuff like that. You know.
I was opening up some hip files the other day just to kind of mess around with some stuff, and I have not, because I was editing it and I wasn't necessarily doing every step. I still felt so comfortable in it. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. And that's also like one of the big things. Like that's what I learned when I tried to do a year of Cinema 4D dailies, and then after that, the year of Houdini dailies. There's a thing. I actually had to do a talk on this at the LA Houdini user group, and the term I came up for it was the GUI hump, the GUI hump, because you got to get over that.
I like that.
But
I like that.
yes,
yeah.
But when I said that, somebody came up to me afterwarars, Justin, who's one of the coordinators there. He was like, "You got to come up with a different term for that because it just sounds wrong."
Houdini hump.
Nah, it's so good.
H squared.
You have to get over the hump of getting past that graphic user interface with whatever program you're trying to learn.
Yeah.
And you're only going to get that through like constant repetition in the beginning.
Yep.
And it's a lot, because so where I work right now, we've got most of our people here are editors. We've got a lot of junior editors and things like that. There's only a few people doing motion graphics, but a lot of the junior editors, they want to get into motion graphics. The only time that they have to do it is toward the end of the year when the seasons are freed up, and so they don't have as much work. So they all come to me and they all want to learn After Effects. They all want to get into Cinema 4D. And so like here are the tutorials. Look at the basics on GSG.
I need some job security right now.
I mean, that's the thing. Like through this community, the motion graphics community, Mograph.com, and GSG, like I try to bring that to work, and everybody at work thinks I'm crazy for it. They're like, "Why are you teaching all of us your secrets? Why are you so generous about like how to do certain things?" And I'm like, "That's like we're not going to get better unless you guys everybody gets better, right?"
Yeah.
Right.
And so they're always at the end of the year, they all want to learn After Effects. So I point them to different things, but what happens is they do it for that time, and then they stop, and then when they open up After Effects again, it's like a brand new program.
Yeah. Got that GUI hump again.
Yeah, it's the GUI hump, and so
they
even I think
fall down the hump, and then they gotta ride the gooey hump again.
It sounds like
it's
a dance. Everybody do the gooey hump.
Maybe I shouldn't have introduced this term, actually.
It's the gooey
hump. But you have to get past that. And I think even Billy was saying that, after he took the first half, every time he opens it up, he's still comfortable in it. And it's really important to learn with any program you're doing, and especially Houdini, because it's so different than what's out there usually. And so, I mean, if anything, the year of doing dailies that helped me actually do that. Like, there can be long spans of time where I'm not using it at work, but every time I open it up, I'm still comfortable with it. I can still open up any hip file or other hip files. You can look at like CG Wiki, or there's a lot of hip files out there for you to like take apart, and you can still figure out like what is being done, especially because it's a node-based structure and all that. But you have to get past that. How is a DOP set up? Why is it in this certain way? And how to reference it for yourself. And if every single time you're trying to relearn that, it's really a big hindrance to progress.
Yeah. Now you started your career a little bit later. What year and what age would you say you started your motion graphics career?
Motion graphics specifically? I don't know, probably around, motion graphics in it like After Effects, or motion graphics in Cinema 4D?
I don't know. Both. I don't know.
Yeah, motion graphics in After Effects was probably around 2008. But I was in Japan until 2006. I came back in 2006. So I was in Japan for about 7 years.
Wow.
I'm originally from Hawaii, but then
I speak Japanese.
Yeah, I speak Japanese pretty fluently. And so I had gone to Japan for learning Japanese, actually, and then for church related stuff, and then to teach some English there.
Cool.
And then, but the thing was, like, I had gone to 7 years in Japan, and basically it was a very rural area. Like, I wasn't in Tokyo, the heart of Tokyo, or anything like that. It was very, it was very disconnected from the real world a little. And then so when I came back, it was basically like I had taken a 7-year break and not done anything for my career, and I still really didn't know what direction I wanted my career to go in. And then so when I got back and I was back in Hawaii, I started working for a wedding video company because that's basically all you can do in Hawaii. For
which island?
Oahu.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was because at the school that I was teaching in Japan in English, we were using Final Cut for like the year-end videos and things like that. So I was really into Final Cut at the time. The wedding video company was using Final Cut, so I started doing that. And then everybody at the company there was like, as soon as I got in, for some reason they were like, "Hey, do you know how to use After Effects? Do you know how to use After Effects? Do you know how to use After Effects?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Nope." Like at that point, I had opened it up a couple times and made like animated GIFs through it.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what I was doing. But they were like, "Yeah, if you learn how to use After Effects, you're going to be awesome." So I was like, "Okay." So I spent the whole summer after I got back learning After Effects and going through tutorials with, on Video Copilot, doing like 2.5D stuff. And I got kind of okay with it. And then in 2008. I moved out to San Francisco because my wife was going to USF over there, and I had gotten a job at the California Academy of Sciences, the planetarium.
Cool.
Yeah, so I was the planetarium editor there.
Cool.
Nice.
That's super cool.
That was a really, really cool job, and I loved it. I loved it so much. Like Did
you edit any of the stuff for like the dome?
Yeah, so the science visualization stuff. So I was a planetarium editor, and when it comes to editing, like because everything was done in CG, like everything was done at that time in Maya, and we had a little bit of Houdini going on. Editing is not so glamorous because everything is just by the frames.
Right.
And it's not really too much. There wasn't too much flexibility. So basically, I was glorified, taking renders and placing them on a timeline so they could see sound. But I was also editing for a lot of our YouTube videos, or like the exhibits videos and things like that, and I was peppering a bunch of After Effects, through that stuff.
That's cool.
And it was really great. The thing is, like, I really regret, because I hadn't gotten into 3D at that time. I really regret not taking more advantage of my working environment there, because for the planetarium, all of the people creating the content for the planetarium shows, they were all ex-ILM. They were all
wow.
like, yeah. And so in meetings, they were like, oh, when I worked on, Iron Man or when I worked on Transformers, and I was like, what?
When I was a wedding videographer.
Exactly. That's what I brought to the table, They were using Maya, and they had just started to sort of get into Houdini. And it was a great environment to like learn from, and a really, really open environment, of like learning or like keeping up with the industry and sharing ideas and sharing like new concepts and things like that. It kind of sounds familiar with a certain community that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And so, even at the time, they were starting to get into Houdini. So I had a VFX, one of the VFX guys there. They were like, "Hey, you want to get into Houdini?" And at the time, I'd just taken like one class in Maya, and I had no idea what I was doing. And he was trying to show me the copy stamp function and how great that is, because back then it was copy stamp. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Yeah, that's great. Like, so what are UVs now?" Kind of a thing. And I wasn't at the level that I could really benefit from it. So I kind of regret that a little bit. Yeah. And then my wife, she got into she finished her master's degree at USF and then got into UCR, University of California in Riverside,
cool.
For her PhD. And so and it's been like it was something that she really wanted to do, and I had by that point I had already graduated from the Academy of Art University. And so we decided to up and move down to Southern California, and I just had to say bye to that job, and I had no prospects or anything. But when I came down here, because I had been an avid editor, and I was a certified avid editor at the planetarium, there was an ad for Lucas Oil Studios for an avid editor. And so I went in and applied, and it turned out that they were sort of looking more for a motion graphics person, and they saw some of the After Effects stuff on my reel. Yeah. And so when I started working here, I was doing mostly After Effects. And that was the first time where I started using After Effects almost every day, and I got really used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the working environment at the planetarium was that we couldn't really get upgrades and plugins because everything had to be really rock solid bulletproof, because basically their workflows were kind of like how ILM was doing their stuff, or like those big production studios. And if you introduced something foreign, it could break the entire system. So our IT is really strict with what, and here I'm like, oh, I need, I don't know, I need a Red Giant's shine or something.
Yeah.
We'll get to testing that out once we make sure that it's not going to break Maya or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I got really used to trying to create effects on After Effects from scratch, like with the
stuff. Like stock stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of troubleshooting is like really, really important, I think, instead of like relying on plugins and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of starts giving you the problem-solving mindset to try to figure things out.
Yeah.
And so then I started when I started working at Lucas Oil and I was using After Effects every day, I was using that mindset, even though my boss here was like, dude, you need to plug in, we can just buy that for you, that's fine. But I was still in the mindset of trying to figure things out. And then about a month or two in,
you learn so much doing it that way. Yeah.
It's not just what the plugins are, but how to piecemeal them together to solve your own problems. Like you can finally have a vision of what you want to do and then figure it out.
Yeah, totally.
And so, and then they were like, hey, we also have a license of Cinema 4D. And before I had left the academy, one of my close friends who I really respected, he was actually really good at After Effects and Maya, and he was just getting into Houdini, and he didn't know any Cinema 4D at the time. I had lunch with him before I was leaving, and I was like, yeah, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Like, I am leaving this great job, and I have no prospects. But he was like, you know what? Here's my advice: learn Cinema 4D. And he wasn't even a Cinema 4D artist. He was just like, at the time, he was like, that's where especially if you're gonna go freelance or whatever it is, just learn it. Like, I've seen a few tutorials with it. I don't really use it, but I think that's what you should do. And I took his advice to heart. And I was watching tutorials while I was looking for a job. And I finally got the job at Lucas Oil. And they were like, hey, yeah, we've got a license for it if you want to use it. And I was like, yes, I want to do that. And so actually from that point on, I think I stopped touching Avid altogether. And I was just able to, and do motion graphics, mostly cinema, and a lot of After Effects too. And stick with that.
That's cool, man.
I haven't touched Avid in a long time.
Planetarium editor. That's so cool.
So at the time, it was a lot. This was between 2008 and 2012, and so our planetarium, the California Academy of Sciences had just sunk I think I want to say about $500 million into creating their new everything,
Wow.
the new building. And so the planetarium was part of that as well. And so it was the largest, most advanced digital planetarium in the world at the time. There's probably other places now since then, but and basically because we didn't have Octane's dome camera or Redshift's dome camera or any of that stuff, it was basically a 6-camera rig that that corresponded to the 6 projectors in the dome.
Yeah.
And then each would render a square that would then get stitched into in Nuke and put up on the dome.
Oh, so much work.
Wow.
It was crazy, like the workflow, and I didn't understand the workflow at the time. Like now, looking back at it, I'm like, oh, that's why we did this. Oh, that's how it is. That's why we did it. But I couldn't wrap my head around the whole workflow of things. But it's where sort of I got the understanding about when you're in that immersive of a 360 environment, you can't have like crazy whip pans. You can't.
Yeah.
It will mess.
We went to the planetarium in
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah. And there were a few videos that they were moving pretty fast, and I got pretty sick.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. It's the nodal panning stuff, that always gets me sick. It's like if I'm in VR. And like I'm able to move my head around and it tracks it really well, fine. Right. But it's the second I'm still and everything around me is moving. My wife makes fun of me because we went to Disney World one time and I got motion sick on Ellen's Energy Adventure. It's like this really lame, slow moving ride,
I got kind of sick on the teacups. Shoot.
No, I don't ride the teacups.
No.
Actually, I mean, I think what they say about how as you get older, I guess the liquid in your ear starts to solidify, so that's why it's hard for you to keep your balance and things like that. Because, like, no joke, I cannot even be on the swings with my daughter right now.
That's funny.
Yeah. But you have to be really careful about that stuff. So we were on that job earlier this year with the dome stuff. I think it was all of us, and we're doing that stuff. And that's why when I was getting the brief about it, I was like, oh, this is like what I remember why I had to, and it all came back together. Like that's what I needed to be aware of and things like that. So that was really great. I really had fun on that one.
Yeah, that was a fun one to work on.
Yeah, totally.
So you also did Cinema 4D dailies as well.
I did, and it wasn't as like. So with the Houdini stuff, I'm super proud of that because that was every day. That was every damn day. Tutorials a day too. And I posted one every day. And at the end of it, I looked back on it. I think more than half of them were motion once I got into DOPS. But the Cinema 4D stuff in 2015, I was more on the kick of I had to at least post once a day. So there was a few times where I had like stocked it up behind. And, that's not
you're
legit.
not supposed to.
But, yeah. But there was a few reasons why. But I did post when my daughter was born.
Cool.
But it was like really quick, like you just write her name out and just put a twist on it or something. But
here's a cube.
Exactly. But she had a few complications when she was born, and so I spent a whole bunch of time in the neonatal intensive care unit. And so like I even remember there was a picture that I took out of the hospital that I used as the background for one of my renders to do a motion track and just have something coming out of the floor. But like life gets in the way sometimes, and it's kind of tough. But you gotta, keep going at it, I guess. I don't know. I had the specific goal of just for the Houdini stuff was like specifically a year, and I felt really bad after, not bad, but weird after it finished. But I wasn't gonna be able to keep up that pace for much longer than that.
I don't know how Winkleman does it, man.
No, that guy is unbelievable. And he's the reason why like I was doing it, obviously, especially for the Cinema 4D stuff. Like I was just starting to follow him, and he had a talk. I think it was D2 or something. It's online. It was one of the first times he actually first started to seriously talk about, and I say seriously with quotes, but there was a lot of swearing and not as much seriousness. But it was actually slides and presentations about his process of why he does dailies and how he does it. And there was this whole thing where he went through it, and it was really inspiring. Just to get it done, just to pass, get the momentum going and not lose that momentum and keep forward. It was this thing where he was like, everybody's got 5 minutes.
Just don't take a crap that day.
Yeah. Exactly. That stuck with me. Yeah. Not that I was holding my crap in, but it's just just a funny thing to keep you going.
Yeah. You hold the crap in too long, everybody's gonna know you're full of it. So.
Well, you know, like I know there's a whole controversy with, you know, dailies and stuff like that. But if you use it for that purpose, I think it's really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you know if you do 100 dailies in a row and you email Mike Winkleman, he'll give you $100?
I heard that from
That's
Casey
true.
Hupke.
Yeah.
So it's got to be
After
true.
Casey does the burpees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
still owes
us
us 50
burpees.
We'll wait for him to call in. Now,
Yeah.
So you also worked with Aryev on that ice video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too, right? Like, what part of that did you work on?
So I did the ice melting, when the statue melts, and because he had been working with, I think, RealFlow, trying to get the look that he wanted to get done,
Right.
and I think that was right around NAB 2017 or 18, maybe 2018.
Yeah.
And he was talking about that, and I had just finished my dailies, and I was showing him some stuff I was doing that had to do with ice as well. And then he was like, dude, I'm trying to, he hit me up a little bit later on, and he was like, I want to see what you can do in Houdini in regards to this. And he had shown me a few tutorials that you know, Houdini was doing some ice melting stuff, and I think it was by Ben Watts and things like that. And I had known those tutorials. Like at that point, like I've since fallen behind, but at that point, like I knew almost every Houdini tutorial out there because I had just been like stockpiling them, and I had them,
right.
You know. And I was like, oh yeah, I know that one. Like that, I can do. I know the concept behind that, and so ran a few tests, and you know, he had a very specific vision of where he wanted to go with it, and I tried to match it as much as possible. I think in the end there was like a kind of a little bit of we met in the middle. One of the big reasons why was because like I was working on an iMac at the time.
Yeah.
And just the sheer iterations of different sims that I wanted to try different. I mean, it's basically just like you just see what it does and see how it melts.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was getting really frustrated with just going through the iterations. And
it was the CPU
you know,
power, right?
Yeah, it was on CPU power. It was on 4-core threaded.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And and it was getting pretty brutal. And David Arya, for the great, he's awesome. Like he's I don't think I've ever seen that guy get mad or anything like that. So like he was totally fine with it. He was like, no, that's great, dude, kind of a thing. But I was like, no, I want to. Like I could do so much. Either. Yeah, totally. Like the guy, like he's not a normal human being, guys. Anyway, but he was just really great about the whole thing, and I was like, I wish I could really do this faster for you and get more iterations out there. But I think also the way that he works and he gets what he can do, and he makes the best of things. Like it's crazy.
And that was a really tight deadline on that.
Yeah, and I think that's probably also one of the reasons why he was like, dude, this is great, we'll use this. And I was like, but I could, if you give me like a few, but it was just to the point where he, I got it to him and he did it. And yes, Sage, Octane Jesus is the best. And so once that whole thing was done, and David's, he's the greatest guy. He actually, was able to pay me out. Like obviously, he's not gonna ask me to do any work for free or anything like that. But I was like, wow, like that was like one of my really first huge or substantial projects that I was using only Houdini, and I was able to get paid for it. And and I was like, wow, like I really want to keep going with that. But if I'm going to do that, I'm probably going to have to invest in a computer. And so that's actually what drove me to switch at home from my home workstation to a PC and sort of get, NVIDIA and GPUs available to me. And I started using more Octane and Redshift from then.
Yeah, I was going to say, what render engine were you using before then?
So for my dailies, just to get them out there, because it was just native, I was doing everything in Mantra. And you're going to be like, Mantra's so slow. And it is. But if you're doing stuff to just get done for a dailies, you can denoise it, you can just make it smaller, you can do whatever's and get around, all doing all the other stuff. So I was kind of used to doing that stuff. It wasn't like anything huge. And my mindset was, if I do anything that I really want to do for my reel, then I will just re-render it at high quality for myself. But to just get the dailies done, everything was just really lower quality.
Yeah.
But at work, I had been on a PC at that point, which is also a really weird story because I almost burned down my studio for something else. I'll get to that. But I was already on PC, and I was mostly using Redshift. I had learned Arnold because I had tried Octane for a bit, and then I had to switch over to not using a GPU because I almost burned down the studio. That's the story. So, and then I switched over to Arnold.
Y'all keep talking. I'll be right back. Sorry.
It's bathroom break time.
Yeah.
But
yes. Sorry.
No, it's totally understandable. The Arnold to Redshift was a really easy switch, actually, because in my mind they both were the same, and so yeah, I switched over to Redshift, and I was using that at work, and at home I was still on iMac, so I was still doing projects with Arnold, sending them to Pixelplow. Pixelplow is great, by the way.
Yes.
Yes, it's amazing, and Ty is awesome, and Chad Ashley is awesome for introducing us all to Pixelplow, because that's how I remember I started using it. And yeah, so then after using Redshift for the most part, then I tried to get back into Octane a little bit, and I still do. And so at work for my projects, I use either of the three, depending on what the project requires. So if I need to get something done quick and dirty, and I know that I'm not going to have to do too many iterations on it, I have more of the creative control, then I'll usually default to Octane, because you could just make things look so good so fast.
Yeah.
In Octane, you know. The problem is if someone, if you have a creative director or someone, a production coordinator or something that really wants to try to tweak it, and it gets a little bit hard. Like, I'm not versed enough in Octane to get a very specific look. Sexy is easy in Octane.
Yeah,
just getting it to do what you really want it to do can kind of be a little bit tough for me anyway. But then for the most part, I'll probably default to Redshift, just because then I have the option of having the GPU speeds, but send it to Pixelplow if I need to. And then some other motion graphics artists here, we only have a handful, but they use Arnold a lot. So if I'm going to do a project with them, then I'll switch back to Arnold so that they can be able to open up the project files.
I had another question I was going to ask you about that too. Can't remember.
The whole burning down the studio.
Oh yeah. Burning down the studio. First of all, yeah. Tell that story.
So I, was really trying to keep up with the industry at the time. This was back in probably 2016 or 15 maybe, and really, yeah, this was in 2015 I think it was, and started to see everything trending sort of towards Octane, and I really wanted to get into it. But I did not want to let go of my Mac, like so many of us, were very, very hesitant to do. And so I was trying to find all of the eGPU solutions out there.
Right.
And the one I came to for work anyway was, I think it's called Bison Box.
Oh, the Bison Box. Yes, I did hear about some fire
So this
incidents.
is going to be really bad advertising for them, probably. Since then, I think they got their stuff together, and like some of the systems that they're making now look insanely good. So just to not step on anybody's toes. But at the time, I'd gotten my boss to sign off on an eGPU for my Mac, and I had tested it out. I set it up, and I had tested out. It worked, and I was like, but the only reason why it worked is because I had to set it up and connect it to my laptop. So I had problems hooking it up to my computer at the time on my desktop. So I set up my laptop, and I was like, great, like, I'm going to work on my laptop and try to do some 3D renders and stuff after I come back for lunch or something. And I had turned off Octane. I had turned off Cinema 4D. But I left everything plugged in like I do at lunch and just have the screensaver on or something like that. And I had left. And so I went home. My daughter was, about half a year old at that time. And literally I am at home. I'm literally changing my daughter's diaper when my edit room buddy calls me up on my phone. I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? And he's like, that box that you have on your computer right now? And I was like, yeah. He's like, it's really making a lot of noise and it's starting to smoke.
Oh, God.
And I was like, dude, turn it off. Like, unplug it right now. And he's told me after when I got back to the studio, he said, as he said, okay, and he was walking towards the box, it started sparking.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and so like he unplugged it and everything, and I finished changing the diaper, and I came, drove like a madman to my studio, which I only live about 10 minutes away, and I could still smell the smoke. And I think what had happened was, for some reason, Octane or Cinema 4D or something was still sending the signal to the box to render, even though I had nothing to render. And at the time, like I didn't know about like monitoring programs, so like throttle I don't even know about those things on Macs. I know about them on Windows now because I use them. But
I don't even know if there are a lot of those on Mac.
I don't. Yeah. And so it basically just, I think, kept going and smoking, and it would have burned down the studio had my edit room buddy not been there.
Yeah. Man.
And so that kind of traumatized me. And so I was like, I told my boss, and he was like, well, just send it back and get a new one, And I was like, no, I cannot in all good conscience ever have a render going off overnight and being worried that my studio would have been burned down by the time I got to work the next day.
Right. I remember hearing multiple stories about that it happened.
I think the hardware was faulty.
Yeah.
Did they ever say why?
Give you crap on Slack for a while about burning down your studio?
Got back to me. Yeah, I probably did. The guy got back to me and he was like, that's unfortunate. We will give you full refund. And I was like, well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Actually, he gave me the option of sending me a new system in its place or a refund. And I was like, yeah, I'll take the refund. But my boss at the time, he was like, you just get a new one and try it again. He's really, really understanding and he likes it when I try to experiment and do new things. But I was like, I can't. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And so from there, like, I gave up for a bit Octane, and I went the Arnold route, and I learned Arnold first before I learned Octane. And I think I think it actually really benefited me though going that route though. It was a little bit slow going, and it's hard to get some concepts, but for the most part, I really liked learning Arnold, and then that helped me switch over to Redshift really easily.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You also helped beta the Joy of Vex as well, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't know how much joy comes from Vex, but
no. So here's the thing. Yeah. So actually, Mark was saying that the Joy of Vex is kind of sort of like stop being afraid of Vex, because so towards the end of my year, actually right after I finished my year of Houdini dailies, Vex was one of the things like I tried to stay away from. I'd done a little bit of it towards the end. And I knew that, but it was also peppered out. It's peppered out through all of the tutorials, out there.
Yeah.
You're sort of forced to get some, and that's a good and I'm gonna say it. It's a good and bad thing with Stop Being Afraid of Houdini. How it totally does not have any Vex in there at all, and it's good in that you don't have to worry about that. And some people just see it
last
just
chapter.
Like,
except the small Vex chapter, but
the good thing about the way I did it, I think, was it. And it's only good because I had done it for so long that some of the stuff in the beginning that I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just following the steps of the tutorials. Later on down the line, when it came up again, I was like, oh, I could recall it,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's what that is. And it was easier for me to grasp because I had it as a constant thing throughout the year. But, not everyone works the same way, and it can be really daunting in the beginning, especially if you're not a code head.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's
Code takes a certain way of thinking in order
a certain
to
mind. Yeah.
Yeah. When I did like 4 semesters of C++ coding, and I had no idea what I was doing the entire time. I just couldn't wrap my head around it.
You gave me your books, and I put them on the shelf and also didn't use them.
Yes. Nowadays, I like understand it a little bit more, only because at one point it clicked in my head. Okay, I know what we're doing now.
Right. And there's a concept in learning. Like I got assessed with like learning how to learn and things like that after I did my year of dailies for Cinema 4D. But there's a concept in learning which kind of sounds really pretentious, but I think it's called the curse of knowledge or something, or the curse of intelligence or something. But it's when you learn something, you kind of forget what it's like how you were thinking before you knew it.
Yeah. Okay.
And teachers, the best teachers are the ones that don't fall under that category because they can remember what it was like when they didn't understand it and show people who don't understand how to learn it.
Right.
Yeah.
With code, I think it's really hard to remember exactly what you're going through. If you can keep that mindset, then it's a lot easier for you to give advice to people. And I try to do that, but all I remember was, before I started getting to Vex was just your brain shuts off. You just look at it, you're like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And then you hear from everybody who can do it, like, no, that's not what you're saying. You're going to be able to do it. And you hear the same things over and over. It doesn't click through your head.
Yeah.
So no matter, I want to say, like, no matter what I say, it's probably not going to really affect. But I remember being in that mindset, and you just have to not power through it, but you do take into account or take some reprieve or solace that Vex is actually one of the sort of easier structured languages, so you don't have to worry about the structure so much.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to worry like if you miss something or miss a typo, because actually Vex will tell you most of the time that there's something wrong with here and you should relook at it. But there's so many examples out there, so what happened with the joy of Vex was towards my end of the year, I had done a presentation for I think I mentioned earlier, for the LA Houdini user group, and on one of the slides, I said, here are some of the tools that I used to get through this year. For some reason, I had called them tools, and it was a giant title that said tools, and had listed, Entagma and CGWiki, Matt Estella, and all those other resources out there, Ben Watts, and think it was, and a bunch of other ones under tools. And for some reason, the coordinator at that time, he decided to take a picture of it and tweet that out. And so after that, I think Rohan Dalvi or maybe it was Matt Estella or somebody, one of those guys, or one of the Antagma guys, saying, "Oh, look, I'm glad to be classified as a tool. Like, we're all tools now." Joke about it. And I was like, "No, totally, that's not what it is," kind of a thing. But and then so I had actually started to, because of that, I started to look how else I could do to support them, because I felt bad for calling them a tool. But Matt Estella had they all had Patreons and stuff like that. But Matt Estella had a Patreon, and CGWiki. That CGWiki resource is probably one of the most, I mean, it's not underrated, but because it's written in written form, it gets overlooked much more than I think people give it credit for, because it is an insanely good resource for Houdini stuff. Like the way his mind works is crazy, and he just has everything indexed and in a really understandable format. Like if you're really just getting into Houdini, if you take a look at his points, prims, and verts section, it really goes over how Houdini organizes itself in a way that no other program really does. And once you kind of get past that, once you understand that, it really helps you, because it really helped me in my SOPs understanding when I read that. And so I was like, I have to pay him back, So I started becoming his Patreon, and he hit me back up and he was like, "Hey, thanks for being a Patreon." I was like, is this really you?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's really me. Thank you for contributing." And I was like, I really love your stuff. Like, and the thing right now is I just went through a year of dailies, but I'm still deathly afraid of Vex. Like it's just I can't do that. And then he was like, "Well, no, that's what a coincidence you mentioned that, because I've been wanting to do something called like the Joy of Vex or something for like really beginner people." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got free time. Like, I'm not doing dailies anymore. I've got this chunk of time that I had dailies to do. I would love to beta test that stuff for you." And he was just making lessons, and he would just write them out, and I would just go over them. And I was actually screen capping while I was going through them for him, and he would look at it and see where like I was stumbling and where, what was good or what I got easily, and kind of adjusted it as he went. And I gotta say, like, not just because I'm really familiar with it because I went through it or whatever, but the way that he presents it in the steps each day, so it's 17 or I think it was 19 maybe, 17, 18 or 19 day course of Vex, but the progression that he goes through really makes it easy to understand the structure of how to start coding in Vex. And I'm not like a super duper expert or anything like that still. I'm not doing like Entagma level stuff like off the top of my head or anything, but it will get you to the point where you can look at Entagma stuff and not have your brain shut down.
Yeah.
Right.
And it got me to the point, it was the only thing that got me to the point where I could start like writing my own Vex. Like if I see a problem that I need to try to solve, and instead of like going to like an attribute randomize or something like that, you just toss in a wrangle and you just code the wrangle on there. It makes it a little bit easier to organize that stuff and try to troubleshoot. And you really start to understand like how to manipulate stuff through attributes. And it really helped out. So like, if anybody's scared of doing Vex stuff, just check out the Joy of Vex, and it's really structured really well.
Who did the Joy of Vex again? I'm sorry.
Matt Estella.
Matt Estella. Okay.
Yeah, he's the guy who founded the CG Wiki.
And also along that line, you're talking about people doing courses and trying to remember, what it was like, beginning. You took a course on learning itself, right?
Yeah. So after the first year of Cinema 4D dailies, I really, really thought that my workflow and just my career and stuff benefited from doing it. And I really sort of started to get obsessed with learning how to learn, because I thought it was a great thing. Like dailies were such a great thing for me to learn how to learn, and the whole thing about the whole GUI hump thing and all that stuff. it was really something that I wanted to understand more about, and also try to figure out how that works on other people and how to drive other people, because I had a bunch of juniors where I work who all wanted to get into motion graphics, and the whole thing where they get into it but they don't, and they start and stop. So I took a course on Coursera, and it's a free course on learning how to learn, and it's only like a month long and stuff, but it really helped me introduce me to a bunch of the concepts. Like it was funny because I was going through the concept of learning how to learn, and it was already being reinforced with the stuff I'd experienced the year before doing the Cinema 4D dailies, and so things like repetition and how to repeat certain things. And there was a weird thing. They were talking about like how much exercise connects to like learning new things in your brain. And so there was a whole book on it too. I think it's called something like Spark, the Science of Exercise and Learning, or something like that. But where there's a bunch of studies done where how much exercise can help. And the weird thing was because my daughter was born. After my daughter was born, I basically stopped exercising altogether because you just don't have time for it. But before she was born, I had been like running in the morning, and that's why when you're talking about running, Dave, like I was like, yes, like that feeling of being able to run, and get like, oh, I can run, like I can run for 30 minutes, and it feels great, your brain actually gets more oxygen and starts to, even when you're like super tired and things like that, that's when your brain's working the most, and you can actually start learning new stuff. There were studies done where like I think there was something where like an elementary school was experimenting with doing PE as the first class of the day, and how much that would help the students and help them retain certain things and learn.
And my kids' school, they started doing 2 recesses, like first recess and second recess.
Yeah, I think that really helps. Like, just don't let them they have to actually get exercise while they're doing it, which kids do. Give them recess, but links like that, or just certain learning techniques. Like there's a technique called the Pomodoro technique. It's called the tomato timer, I think.
Sounds delicious.
It's something about how you basically can only focus for about 25 minutes at a time. And
I'm glad you bring this up, because true. I always tell my wife, anytime we're cleaning up the house, I say 25 minutes of work and then a 5-minute break.
Exactly.
And then 25 minutes of work and then a 5-minute break. And she thinks I'm full of crap. She thinks I'm just making it up.
Look it up. Tomato timer or Pomodoro technique. But
well, what do you think though? When you really get into something though, and you don't want to stop though,
no, if you're in your flow state, state, that's totally different. That's fine. Like you shouldn't break it just because. I mean, you might want to break it just to sit up so you can get some circulation going or whatever it is. But the studies show that your focus starts to peter out at about 25 minutes in.
Right.
And it's really hard, especially if it's something you don't want to do. If you're in a flow state and it's something you want to do, hey, go for it by all means. But studies have shown if you just do about 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break and get back into it, that's probably the most optimal amount of production. You're the most productive if you do something to that effect.
The hardest.
And so that's also why, like.
No, keep going. Sorry.
Oh, that's also why I sort of structured doing tutorials in spurts of 20 to 25 minutes.
Right.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. Yeah. But and I'll get into more of this later if you want me to, because it's really, really. I guys, I was obsessed with like learning and doing stuff more efficiently and things like that. But if you watch a tutorial at two times speed, you get 40 minutes worth in that 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like there were lectures, there were like I think Houdini workshops and stuff that were like close to 2 hours. But if you split them up into 40-minute chunks, it's it'll only take the span of about 3 days or whatever, and then you watch them at ×2 speed, and so that's only 20 minutes out of your day. And so like you can take 20 minutes out of your day to watch a tutorial.
Yeah.
You can take 20 minutes at the beginning of your day and at the end of your day. And the reason why I say the beginning and the end of your day is because that's another concept that they were going over in that course was the beginning of your day and the end of your day are the things you're going to sort of remember the most.
Right.
Especially if the thing that you're trying to learn. This is the ideal. And like I said, like I did this for a year with the Houdini thing, but it wasn't ideal all the time. Like I wasn't able to keep that structure all the time. But so sometimes I wouldn't do it in the beginning of the day or the end of the day. Sometimes I do it in the middle of the day when I had time at my lunch break or something. But the thing that you do at the end of the day, go watch a tutorial at the end of the day, and then sleep on it. Let your brain work on it in the background kind of a thing and just absorb sort of what you learned. And in the morning, the very first thing that you do, maybe brush your teeth or whatever, but the next thing that you do is watch the same tutorial over again.
Oh, and so that's smart. I like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're watching it at ×2 speed, then you are getting a review in the same amount of time the guy at ×1 speed was doing the whole thing once.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you're doing it at ×2 speed, but the thing is, you get to do active recall the second time around, and you kind of like can anticipate because if it was the night before, you should be able to sort of recall it, and that recall is what kind of reinforces it in your brain, and so you can sort of remember. And so even with Mark's course, like I said, I was doing the same thing with Mark's course. Like I wasn't doing the render from it every day, which I wish I could, but like I was working at the same time, I was freelancing at the same time, I even had a sinus infection at the same time. Awesome. So it was tough, but doing this whole thing where I was 20 minutes, at least 25 minutes, and then ×2 speed, or actually with Mark's course it was ×3.5 speed, but we'll get to that later too.
Wow. I edited it in 2x speed.
Was I what?
Were you watching it with captions?
Some of it, but when you watch with captions sometimes too, well, yeah, for the most part it was captions, I think it was. But if you watch it the night before and watch it again, you get that active recall. And even with Mark's course, there was times I have a 6-month-old son, and I didn't have time throughout the day, but there was times where I had it on my iPad and I had it just in a Bluetooth headphone, and I was listening to what he was saying, but it was the recall. It wasn't the first time I was watching it. It was the next day, and I would actively try to remember what he was saying, like the next thing that he was going to say.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see.
And if you not aggressively, but if you deliberately try to do your learning that way, you kind of recall it, and it kind of sinks in a little bit better.
Yeah, and what's nice is when you're watching it or listening to it, if you have a good enough foundation of it, you almost know what the next step on everything is going to be.
And having a photographic memory helps too.
Yeah.
If you have photographic memory, that absolutely does help. I do not have one of those, and my wife will attest to that.
I'm like overly terrible. Like I have, it's almost a curse how photographic my memory can be sometimes.
Oh, that's right. I'm jealous of that.
And it's weird because if I am recalling something that I heard on a podcast, I can remember.
You'll think about what you were doing,
where I was driving at the time. I remember hearing that point when I was at this intersection. It's really weird. Here. Yeah, that's why
awesome.
People don't believe me when I tell them that I remember everything about my childhood home and that I can remember teething.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I don't know about teething, but being able to weird. Visualize things like that is also really good for memory techniques as well.
I don't remember the other thing I was going to ask you about that on the 2x speed thing. Maybe I'll remember it, but I don't know.
Yeah, just that's going to be also one of my life hack answers. But
it's a really good idea. Like watching something at 2x speed right before bed, and then watching something the same thing in the morning. That's such a good idea.
If you can do it, it really helps. And I was doing that for a year, and it does. And the thing about that is, you kind of get used to it. And so I don't watch anything at regular speed now.
Yeah,
you do get used to it.
I watch everything. Yeah.
At first, it's kind of annoying because 2x speed analog, it sounds a lot better than 2x speed digital, because 2x speed digital is kind of choppy, and your brain has to fill in the blanks.
What it does is once it gets faster and faster, as long as the playback device is still keeping the pitch and you're not listening to chipmunks all the time. It really helps. And not Vimeo, VLC Player is really good at it.
Yep.
And there's a few Mac only and a few Windows only programs that can do it as well. It's just the thing that would really help you out is if you stick with the same player and you know them as hotkeys instead of always having to go and change them, because then whenever you're watching something, then you just hit the hotkey to make it fast. As soon as it starts playing, you just go to ×2 speed already. Yeah. And make that the default, or if it's a TV show or whatever and you can change the speeds, 1.5. I watch almost all my shows at 1.5 speed.
Yeah. Oh man, I gotta do TV at 1.
It feels good. It's easy to do when you're doing YouTube. If it's I brought up a YouTube video the other day, and after doing the class, I'm so used to that 2x speed that it was like, oh, this is a 20-minute YouTube video, and I kind of just want to get the gist of this video. I'm not, it's not super important, and so I put it on 2.5, whatever you can put it on, just to get. It's like, okay, give me the meat and potatoes here, you know, like speed it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with YouTube, you have your hotkeys, you know, of jumping forwards and backwards too, so that helps you like just find certain things.
Well, I'm used to using the L key now in Premiere to speed up the.
Oh yeah. That's that was ingrained in my brain way early on.
Yeah.
Final Cut.
It really
4 or
helps.
3. Yeah.
Right.
Dane asks, how can we 2x speed live? We'll just talk like this.
So I do.
Sorry.
Here's the thing. Whenever we have podcasts on the show, because I try to watch
until halfway through, don't you?
Well, I mean, you know, life comes in the way sometimes, or work or whatever and stuff like that. But I have to go home or whatever. I keep it on pause, and then I times 3 or times 4 it back to where we are.
That's a good life hack.
Because you don't have there's so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
And there's a thing called I just learned this. It's called the Red Queen effect, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it comes from Alice in Wonderland, where Alice was in the Red Queen's domain or whatever, and everything was happening around her, all the craziness was happening around her, and the Queen said something about you have to run as fast as you can to stay still in place and not get left behind, and it's something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so what it is to it's the speed of evolution or evolving. All organisms have to evolve as fast as they can to keep up with everything else evolving around them. And essentially, they're all just staying still because everybody's evolving at the same speed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in our line of work and things like that, so many things are coming out. Like you got to learn this, you got to learn that. I got to learn Houdini now. I got to learn ZBrush now. I got to learn all this stuff is coming at us all the time, and it's just like you feel you have to just keep running at full speed in order to keep up with it. And so, I'm not saying you times 2ing everything is gonna slow down the pace of your heart rate. But there's so much stuff out there that I need to just try to consume and try to get through the essentials of what I need to get through as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, I divide my day up kind of most of the time into 2 parts, because I feel like if I'm going to get ahead on what I want to do or what's on my to-do list, then I need to not just do my regular day, but I need to stop. And usually it involves running in it. And like you said, it helps to exercise, regroup, and come back. I know what I was going to say earlier, is that the hard part about doing those 25-minute segments is taking the break for only a certain amount of time and not getting distracted.
It is.
And coming back to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, 25 minutes, you get up, you get something to drink, you go to the bathroom, you sit back down, you open Facebook for a minute, and you got to not go down the rabbit hole of Facebook for 35 minutes. You got to do 5 minutes, check the notifications.
According to the
check the
Pomodoro, the technique, jeez. For every 4 times you take a break, you take a longer one. You take 30 to 40 minutes or something like that. 20 or 15 to 30 minutes.
And it's enough time to eat lunch or something.
Yeah, no, and that's another thing too. It doesn't exactly answer that, but one of the things I really like is the fact that Chrome has different user accounts, and you can log in with different ones. So set a specific one for your work and set one for your personal, because it also links your YouTube to that. And so if you're watching personal YouTube stuff all the time, your feed is going to only be personal stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you while you're working, if you're only using the business account, and if you do end up watching something personal or whatever, like I don't know, a TV show review or something, just go to your history and delete it as soon as you can.
Joe Rogan.
And keep that. Keep that work account work. And so when you have your work account,
your kid grabs a hold of your phone and watches a bunch of Dude Perfect.
Yeah. Like
mine's filled with a whole bunch of
a bunch of Sesame Street sing-alongs on mine.
Yeah.
And I had to go back and I had to delete them all.
Daddy
and the thing
Shark.
is, you keep those 2 separate. Yeah. Oh yeah.
They came out with a new one. You saw that, right?
Oh, they did.
It's wash your hands, do.
Oh, I think I saw
funny.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit about, before we get to links, I want to talk a little bit more about networking as well, because you were mentioning Mr. Plow.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, all the networking, because I think it was SIGGRAPH 2016 or so, around there, where I met Ty. And the whole reason why I met Ty at his booth and he remembered who I was because I started using Pixelpile because of what Chad Ashley had recommended to all of us. And then because of that, and I met him at SIGGRAPH a couple months later on the line when I was like, man, I should have really bought a ticket to Half Res because I would love to go to Half Res because it's like, it just seems like a cool thing to do. I was emailing Ty about an issue or something like that, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, dude, if you want to go, I have an extra ticket because I'm a sponsor."
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "I will definitely take that," and I took that as the reason for me to go because I wouldn't have the opportunity. And the guest at the time was going to be Chris Do.
Yeah.
And I was a huge fan of Chris Do at the time, still am.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go see him. So then when I went to Half Res, I didn't know anybody. Like I knew David Ariev. Because I had seen him, I had met him a little bit, very briefly at that SIGGRAPH. But, I was able to say hi. And I think all of you guys, even Sage was there and I hadn't met you guys yet, but you guys all went upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anybody. I said hi to Nick and Chad and Chris but basically knew nobody. So like, I was just basically like fanboying and hovering around Chris Do the entire time, trying to get a chance to talk to him because he was so inundated with people talking to him. At one point, and this was right in the middle of me doing my Houdini dailies, at one point I think either I was saying something about Houdini or I heard somebody talking about Houdini that perked my ear. But I turned to the person who was talking and I started talking to him, hey, Houdini, kind of a thing. And that was Liam.
Yeah.
And so then later on, once I had finished towards the end of the year, when I finished my Houdini dailies, I think I got into our Slack, and Liam was like super welcoming, and everybody else was super welcoming me there, and I got into this community in our Slack, which is like amazing. Like it was at a point where I was like at a really low point in my career because I felt like I didn't really have a place to belong. I don't have too many coworkers at work who try to keep up with all the stuff that is going on in the world,
right?
In the motion graphics community, not in the world, but in the motion graphics community. Because we're very, it looks all a lot of stuff to do. It has to do very specific to motorsports or certain things.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like I had missed, like I mentioned before when I was working at the planetarium, the back and forth of like, hey, look, there's this new weird thing with VR, or Mandalorians using LED walls and stuff like that, where we're sending all these things to each other, and I kind of missed that, and I kind of got that. Like I got an entire Slack full of coworkers from the community.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my major or bigger freelance gigs since then, and I only freelance part-time, so I'm not always booked or anything like that, and that sort of allows me to sort of pick and choose what gigs I want to take. But all the really good ones and the really bigger ones have all come from the people I know in our Slack, and it's really great.
Yeah. Yep.
And so and then there's the whole NAB thing, which the reason why I scheduled our me coming on the show before NAB was I wanted to. I wasn't going to be able to go this year. I mean, we all aren't now. But at the time, I wasn't going to be able to go because my wife was like, "Our son is like 6 months old. You cannot do that to me." So I was going to come in and just talk about like how great it is to go to NAB, because the 2 times I have been since I've been joining this community and being part of the Cinema 40 community in general, it's just been like the best. It's undescribable.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun,
great.
And I'm so disappointed it's not happening.
Yeah.
There was just gonna be so much fun stuff planned. We're gonna have to just do that virtual NAB,
Virtual NAB.
Which have we talked about
virtual
that yet?
limousine?
I don't know if we've talked about that officially on the show. They did do the press release now, but it will be a virtual NAB.
Yep.
Maxon will
C40 Live.
Yeah, C4D Live, and so the presentations will run, and then all of the speakers will be there afterwards to answer questions and things like that. And it will be the same days, not that Sunday, but it will be starting on 420 and whatnot.
Monday through Thursday. I believe.
420 Blaze It. And so that's also when Camp Mograph tickets go on sale. But so that whole thing, that week we won't have a show. That's when I'll probably run the rerun of on the podcast of the stream that we did with the render stuff with like Chad, Ashley, and everybody. Because we will be like working the live stream stuff for that. So that'll be kind of fun. You know, that'll be kind of fun, but I don't think we had mentioned that yet. And so next week on the show we're going to have is that next week? Yeah, next week we're going to have Liam and Mark on, and we're all going to just chat about Camp Mograph and what's going down.
Yep.
As well as I'm sure other things. And then the week after, Paul Babb will be on the show. And I believe Arn will be on the show as well with him after talking to Paul this morning. So it will be our opportunity. First of all, we're going to talk about NAB.
The merger.
And we'll talk about the merger as well, so if people have questions. But anyway, that I kind of took us down another path. But NAB is just such a great opportunity. I mean, that's for us when we first went and we were brand new and we didn't know anybody to talk to. You know, everybody's so welcoming. Everybody's just automatically your best friends, and you have so much in common. You know, it's everybody seems to kind of have that same personality type, and I don't know how to describe it. Just super friendly. You know, I mean, everybody's different, but it just there's this spark that everybody seems to have. You know, in this industry, especially the people that come to like all the events and all the things, and we're just so into it. And the relationships, you build these relationships almost on fast forward, you know?
Yeah.
By the end of a few days, if somebody you just met, you're like best friends all of a sudden, you know?
Yep.
Like Sage says, we were already best friends. We just didn't know it yet. You know, we found our buddies, and it's nice to have the Slack to continue that. And then you get to work on projects together, and, you know, you get to know, you know, people like you, Grant, you know, then it's like, oh, I know he's really into that one thing. Oh, he knows Vex. We call him up.
Yeah.
You know?
It's great. It's a great way to connect, to keep connected with everybody.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm going to check my battery. I'll be...
all right.
Fine.
I think we're getting pretty close to the end here anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say...
my
wife has a 2 o'clock conference call.
Okay.
That she would love for me to take the baby if possible.
All right. Well, so Matt's going to have to go soon too anyway. So I'm going to go to these links real quick, and we'll wrap up with the Mograph recommends, and I think we'll be done.
Okay.
So in links, I talked about the Who Creative Brief thing already. There's also a video called "Everybody Can Make Deep Fakes Now." I recommend you go check that out.
I saw that. That was cool.
I'm just blowing through these so we can finish up here for you. Then there's a cool video. I think Tokyo Megaplex recommended. It's called "Sounds Good." It's on Vimeo. It's a cool short. And then I also wanted to plug the French Monkey's new album.
Yeah.
French Monkey came out with an album, and he just released it last night. There's a Gum Road.
We need to have him on the show to talk about it.
It's been a bandwidth issue for him for a long time, so we'll see.
Yeah.
What's available now?
Adult Swim just released a Rick and Morty short called Samurai and Shogun.
I saw that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was actually pretty cool. Yeah.
There's a new show that they're coming out with as well, or Justin Roiland's coming out with as well.
Yeah, looks cool.
If they could only finish the rest of the Rick and Morty season, but
I'll take whatever I can get.
Yeah. Well, we need it now more than ever. Just release all the last 5 right now so we can binge it, please. But let's go to Mograph Recommends. And we already did your life hack, so I think we're good there. But let's do your favorite movie.
So like I have a ton of favorite movies, but I grew up with TBS and like the reruns on TNT and USA and stuff like that. So like all those 80s movies are like part of my childhood, like the Goonies and the Weird Science and the Big Troubles in Little Chinas and stuff like that. But I remember my first favorite movie that I obsessed about when I was a kid was Ghostbusters.
Okay, good choice.
Yeah.
Have you watched the Netflix thing, the movies we grew up on, or something like that?
The toys that we grew up on, I've seen a few.
No, there's one.
About movies now.
Oh, okay.
And they go over Ghostbusters and the process of Ghostbusters. Watch it. It's awesome. Okay. It's really good.
The toys one is cool and too.
Yeah,
the toys one's crazy. Like some of them, they get really in depth into stuff.
They show where kit bashing came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. And then the one thing about the favorite movies is I always say like my favorite superhero movie, because it's so, superhero movies are so common now, but my favorite superhero movie is Logan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You know what? I watched it on a plane and I never finished it.
Finish it. It's good.
Yeah.
Superman 3 for me all the way. Richard Pryor, man. It's so bad it's good. All right, music.
So like I pretty much listen to anything. And you know, I'm not one of those people that really listen to too much stuff while I'm working, unless I'm really trying to get something done fast, and like I try to listen to something high, you know, and I don't have to hear the sound.
Yeah.
And I try to listen to something really high paced or fast, but like a lot of times, like I find myself just listening to soundtracks from movies or themes from TV shows or whatever, just because I guess the nostalgia factor or the way it makes you feel, like superhero themes and things like that.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I was going to say that I listen to, which is going to sound really weird, so bear with me while I was trying to sort of explain it. But while I was doing my year of dailies for both Houdini and Cinema 4D, and just since then, in general, is like I sort of started putting in the background while I work ASMR.
Okay.
And it's not the typical, I guess, what the industry has become now, but just more like, of the scratching on paper or like you know, when they do like zooms in of like drawing or painting or whatever that talking like this. Yeah, not so much that stuff, because that's kind of sometimes is a little bit creepy. But just those really minute, almost white noise, but it's not white noise.
Human white noise.
Yeah.
Human music.
Human music.
That's kind of weird.
I like it.
But it's sort of, so the thing is, it's like constantly like trying to learn new things, or I guess especially when my daughter was born, and every time she would cry in the middle of the night, I don't know about other first-time parents, but like I would shoot out of bed like crazy and just go straight to the crib, and like my heart would be beating crazy fast and my brain would be working, you know, really fast. And doing that all the time, that was becoming my norm, but it was hard for me to start winding down.
Yeah.
And sort of like actually starting to try to concentrate, not so much wind down to like exactly fall asleep, but just like get my thoughts focused, I guess is what I was trying to do. Yeah. And like I started feeling like putting stuff like ASMR in the background sometimes would actually help me. I wasn't, you know, getting like, I guess like people call it the tingles or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Per se,
braingasm.
But it was more like a really like a calming thing, or like a helping me focus kind of a thing. So.
Yeah.
That's not to say that I listen to it all the time, but you know, sometimes.
What about TV shows?
TV shows, so like in the past year, like probably the best thing and the most smartest thing that I've watched, really enjoyed was Watchmen.
Yes.
Cool.
Like, that was really done like extremely well. And like I know some people that I've tried to recommend it to, and they're like, yeah, I couldn't get into it because it got canceled. You know, like how good can a show be if it got canceled or whatever it is?
It actually didn't get canceled. The creator just decided not to continue, and they didn't want to do it without him.
I tried to get into it.
They tried. They tried to get so many people to take the torch after him, but he had originally scripted only one season, and it was even to the point where it was supposed to be 10 episodes. But I think right when they started finishing episode 6, he was like, I could make one more episode to fill out the 10, but it would just be filler, and I don't want to do that to the audience, and I don't want to do that to the story. And HBO was just like, oh yeah, all right, just do what you got to do, make your show. It's one of the best things I've seen on TV in recent years.
I tried twice to get into it. I need to try again. I don't know.
It's really good.
How about podcasts?
So like this podcast, obviously, but, that's because it comes up on the Bad Signal channel, and then I try and have it on during work or whatever it is. But the other thing is like I only live about 10 minutes from work, so I don't really have too much of a commute to listen to podcasts and stuff. But on average, like I try to listen to other podcasts by like School of Motion, or even Christo had one for a bit. I'm not sure if he's still doing it, because that's how rarely I have really long drives. Whenever I go into LA and stuff like that, I try to put those on. I try to get into those. But like things on NPR, like it's funny because I think it was Zach Corzine, who was originally also from San Francisco. And like in his talk, he was like listing all these NPR shows like TED Talks and Freakonomics and things like that. And I was like, yep, those are the ones I listen to too. Like they're all basically sort of the same. Recently, like Kevin Smith's podcast, because he just goes over all the stuff that's going on in the industry about like superhero movies and stuff like that. And he just he loves everything, and I really get into like how much he like enjoys things.
He's such a great speaker.
He is, but he keeps rambling on and on. I kind of tend to do that too sometimes. That's why it's G rant. Let's see, Joe Rogan. Sometimes I try whenever there's a good clip or whatever.
Yeah. Or good, guest. Yeah.
A really good resource. I don't really listen to the podcast, even though they do have one, but it's just a really good blog and resource in general. I think it's something Chris Schmidt actually touched on when he was on the show. It's called Farnham Street Blog.
Okay.
And that one is, so Farnham Street is just a community of people who really like to learn and learning how to learn. And so like I have some OCD, and I try to like clear out my inbox of all the unread stuff, whether it's just tossing out junk mail or whatever it is. But Farnham Street and emails from that Coursera's course I was taking on learning how to learn are the only emails that I still have that are unread, because I know I want to get back to them. I just don't have the time, and they keep building up. But like there is so chock full of really good resources on learning how to learn. I even just recently realized that they have a paid subscription for a more robust inner circle of people who really like learning and stuff like that. That I'm thinking about actually probably going to try to join. But it's actually a really good resource.
Cool.
Cool.
What else do we have there? What's left? Plugin? Favorite plugin?
Plugin. It's going to be wrong to say, and I wish this wasn't the case, but I'm going to say Houdini is my plugin, because I am still using Houdini like a plugin, which I wish I could be using it more every day and have it the other way around. But as it is right now, Cinema 4D is still my go-to to do things fast and dirty and get things done. And if I really need functionality of Houdini, like, the V2B modeling is actually just so much more robust sometimes, and I just have to port it up, or the bools. The bools in Houdini are just crazy.
And it's almost like build your own plugins to, Houdini
exactly.
is, whatever plugin you need. Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And so, like, for the most part, I wish it wasn't the case, but Houdini is probably my answer,
cool.
for that.
Favorite headphones?
Favorite headphones, like, I don't really, like, I'm using Sony's right now. They're really, really good. But I don't really have too much of a preference. Half the time I'm like listening to it with half the thing off like this anyway. So I can hear what's around me.
Yeah.
But one thing I did was I got really cheap Bluetooth headphones, and so like I'm not enough to just buy Apple headphones all the time or whatever. Plus these things are so small that you kind of lose them. But what I've done is I buy the cheaper Bluetooth ones. They're only like $25, $30 or whatever, and I have it set up so that one gets ported to my iPhone and the other gets ported to my iPad, and I just switch them to whatever I need them to, because I think iPods or Apple headphones, you can have them connected to multiple things at one time. But with ghetto, like really cheap versions like this, I just have to make do with it. But I really like having that, being able to listen to one or the other, especially when I'm like rocking my son to sleep or something to that effect. It's really helpful to have that wireless connectivity.
Yeah,
totally.
And then lastly, your favorite app. What's your favorite go-to app whenever you open your phone?
Okay, I got two really good ones, but I also have a really quick life hack after this too.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
Right, but so the two apps are one thing, the extension for Chrome is the thing that I use, and Houdini Mark was asking me about this too, because he was like, how are you watching my class at like times 3.5 speed or whatever? It's a Chrome extension. It's called like video speed something. It's my mouse. If you can, it comes up if you just look at any Chrome extension or whatever. But what it does is almost any video, even if it's Vimeo or whatever it is, and with your course, Stopping Afraid of Houdini, it puts a little speed changer, and it goes by increments of 0.1.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, I think the course only like default will go up to 2x. It won't go any further.
It's great. So I've been watching, to catch up, especially in the beginning when it was kind of stuff I sort of already knew. I was watching at 3.5 times speed. And the only reason why you can watch it that fast is because I was kind of already familiar with the content, obviously. But, it goes it's a Chrome extension, and it has hotkeys, so you just use S or D to speed up. And so whenever I open up a YouTube a video, I'm automatically just hitting D to get it to ×2 speed or whatever it is. And you can adjust on the fly to whatever speed that you feel is you're more comfortable with. It's so helpful, and I've been basically living my life at ×2 or faster.
Yeah.
For everything,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, the other app that's really good. It's for iPhone, but if you download Baywatch, which sounds weird, but it's actually an eBay watcher.
Oh, okay.
And so it'll alert you when you have like things that come in under, like you can set up the criteria for like certain prices, or if it's used or buy now or whatever it is. And it doesn't work always 100%, and it's not always 100% super up to date. So sometimes I'll find something that comes in at a really good price, and by the time I click on it, it's already sold. Yeah. But it's how I was able to get last summer. I was able to get, I think, so let's see, I got two 2070. Just not supers though, because that's before supers came out. But they were the ones that you take out of a production build, so like a aftermarket, a build to order.
Yeah,
no, not a build to order, a stock one, and then you want to rip it out and put your own in afterwards. The one that you rip out is a kind of like a name brandless one.
Right.
So I was able to get two of those, and each of those were like $270, I think.
Wow, that's a really good deal.
And I was able to get a 2080, which I then sold afterwards because it was so cheap. But I got a 2080 right around the same time for about $380.
Wow.
And it was because of that. So it's really good. So like I just told you guys my secret of how I know all of the secrets. Like if you have it set on a watch, you can see what the trends are also for selling your own stuff too. So that's how I know a 1080 Ti is only going to go for about this much, and blah blah blah, and things like that. So
yeah.
So that's cool. What you already gave us 2 life hacks, I think.
Yeah. So the other life hack is not about like speed changes and all that stuff like that, which I still recommend that you do. Like the speed app to change YouTube videos, it's the greatest. But this is a weird thing that I do, and I want to know if other people have this problem. So if it works with other people, please let me know. Okay. So depends on where you are. Sometimes if it's humid or not, like you get like plugged up ears. I don't know if everybody comes. It feels like you have a cold, or it feels like you just have water in your ears, and you kind of have an echo in your voice. And I know a few people that I've heard that have that problem, and they just can't get rid of it. And I found out that if you actually lie down or put your head in a lower position as the rest of your body, or the same position as your body, so basically just lie down or put your head down in between your legs or something, and swallow, it'll unpop your ears.
Oh, weird.
And it will stay unpopped for a while. If it's really bad, it'll pop again. I mean, it'll plug up again. You just do it again. So it kind of looks weird. Like if you can't really, like if I did it now, it'd look weird. But
I needed that about 7-8 years ago. I had that happen really bad after I was sick. I mean, like 2 weeks of just being in my own head both ears. I finally got so tired of it, I just pinched my nose and blew as hard as I could, which is probably not a good idea, but
sometimes, well, the thing is with the way that it was doing, with my ears would get plugged up, that wouldn't work. And so like, the only thing I found out that would work is if I actually put my head down and actually just swallowed really hard. It sounds kind of weird. That I'm trying to explain, but yeah, I just want to know if other people have that problem, and if it works for other people, because it totally works for me. But
interesting. I think we covered everything pretty much. That was good. That was a lot of information in a short amount of time. Man. That's 2x.
Yeah, try that at 2x speed.
Yeah, there we go. It's technically 4x. Yeah, we really appreciate you being on, man. Man.
No, thank you so much. It's really been an honor to be on the show, actually.
You were like, I don't know if we have anything to talk about. I'm like, dude, we'll have stuff to talk about.
Yeah. It's like we just set you up and then let you go.
I really, really, really appreciate the community that you guys made. Like, it's basically,
it wouldn't be any community without you.
True that. Yeah.
So, if anybody's out there listening, like, join the Slack. It's an amazing place to be a part of.
If anybody's interested in joining, just hit us up.
Yep,
we'll hook you up. We figured that's the best way to do it. So
emails.
So if people want to find you, you got your website. It's GrantInouye.com. Now, what about on all the things?
So all the things, like I'm usually Grant_Rants, because Grant was taken, but it's G_Rant_. rants, which is hard. So if you just find my website, then you can get a link to it.
Yeah, and we've got it in all the social media posts from this morning too.
Yep.
You can find it there, on all the different platforms. That's the hard thing about doing social now is you got to go find everybody's avatar and call sign from everything, you know. But everybody go check that out. We're gonna get out of here. You can rate us on iTunes. Leave a review. It helps get our ratings up. You can also subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. Subscribe to our newsletter, which goes out once a month. I got another one I'm working on right now to go out. It's actually a little late, to tell you the truth. You can say you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb Feel the Babb 2020 shirt. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. Render Things T-shirt, hoodie, long sleeve tee, and of course the That Render is Fire shirt, which you're only allowed to wear ironically. And that's it. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, mograph.com. Come hang out, check us out, and quarantine with us.
Yep.
So
and wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
20 seconds.
Stay in your friggin' house.
Wash your effing hands.
Right. Stay in your friggin' house. If you don't have to go out, don't go out.
Be careful out there, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. Till next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm G-Rant.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
All right. Just stay on the line here for a second with me. I know, Matt, you got to go. If you need to go ahead and go.
Yeah.
And we'll work on getting all the stuff and things.
Grant,
go to
thanks for coming on, man.
No, thanks, dude. Seriously, thanks for having me. Like, really, thank you.
227, is that what this was?
This is 227, like the TV show. You know.
No.
No?
All right, I'll see y'all later. Dave, I'll call you in a little bit.
All right. Yeah, just stay on for a second here and we'll work out the tech.